When you're walking through these streets without all the vendors around, it does feel like you're in a fairy tale. It's like you're from Aladdin somewhere. And then you see all the tourists again. Check out this beautiful, beautiful square that we're in. Now, it's beautiful for you. It wasn't so beautiful for the people here about 200 years ago, where if you were a thief, they would either throw you off a tall tower. If you were an unfaithful lady, what they would do is they would put you into a sack and they would beat the sack with a stick essentially until, well, stop moving. Or if you were a thief and they caught you, well, a hand being cut off in the Arab world would sound like a beautiful walk in the park, because what they would do to you is right there. They would put in a nice little, let's call it a pole with a sharp little point at the top, and then, well, you sit on it and you get impaled through your ass and then you die. But look how pretty it is. Now get this. This was where the Han, the leader of this area, would be sitting in. He would be sitting in that throne right there. And then you could come into him and, tell him of your problems. But very important thing, you couldn't turn your back on him. So you would have needed to come in like this. Dear Han, I'm having problems with my wife. She's cheating on me with the boy next door. Please put her in that sack and beat her to death. But then if you turned his back on him, you were done. You were done. Killed. So you literally had to waddle your way back like this, making sure your back was never turned, and you had to make sure that, well, you didn't trip on the way out. Okay, now we're gonna go up to see where the Han would relax, enjoy himself after a long day of listening to requests. Look at that. Ooh, нифига себе. This minaret was built originally to be the tallest one anyway, 90 meters. However, it wasn't fully completed, so that's why it kind of looks like it's not fully completed up there. The goal was to be able to see Bukhara from Khiva, which is quite far away, so it really needed to be tall. You see what we're checking out? This is the biggest medrese in all of Uzbekistan, right? Where they're studying Islam. Right here in Khiva, baby. You see all these rugs? They're made off of the designs of the doors. You remember how elaborate all the doors are? Nowadays, basically that's where they take their designs from. So this was probably on some door. Now we're entering the area that was, well, the domicile of the Han's harem. So over on that side would be where his multiple wives would be. They had pretty nice quarters for themselves. Over here would be all of his mistresses, essentially, with less nice quarters. You would have 3 or 4 of them in any one room at the same time. Now, the big thing is, it's not like it was easy to become a part of his harem. First, you needed to go under a medical exam. Everything had to be good with you, no weird defects, no issues. You had to be a virgin, but that's a given. You couldn't be touched by any man. Of course, it goes without saying that you had to be beautiful. You had to have nice skin, nothing weird, a nice, beautiful figure. And then one of the more important things, you had to be relatively smart. Because if you weren't, well, then you weren't allowed to bear his children. Well, what happens when you fornicate? sometimes kids happen. So if you were one of his mistresses who wasn't so smart, they would take out your uterus. Sometimes you would just bleed to death and die. Other times you would survive, be emotionally permanently scarred, but well, survive. And you become the Han's little plaything. You don't need brains to be a plaything. You'll never give birth to a son. He'll enjoy your company forever and ever while you're sharing the multiple rooms with, well, the other souls who survived like you. And then, if the Han would travel, he would go from this palace to another one. Well, he rounds them all up, packs them up, and then they would all go together. And then that was his life. Conquer, 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 battle, 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 harem, harem, harem. And this is where the Han would sleep. And then, to get with his wives, he would go through a secret entrance. So no, he would not hook up with the babes here. He just slept here. You're gonna have to fight back these vendors. They're relentless. Check this out. This is the Juma Mosque. It's one of the most popular attractions here in Khiva. And the main thing is, the mosque is held up by these hand-carved wooden columns, some of which are 1,000 years old, others are a few hundred years old. And the cool thing is, if you look at one, you won't see any of the columns behind it. It's a bit of an architectural marvel. Okay, last adventure in Khiva, got a rooftop reservation at this one restaurant, and that is what you're gonna get from here. Not too shabby.